My auntie swapped my destiny. Story time. Hi besties, you're welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome. My name is Pressy Patrick, and here I read out true life interesting stories about people's experience. So if this is what you like, consider sticking around. Don't just run away. Like my videos, subscribe to my channels, and then relax and watch interesting stories. So now let's get right into the story. Some stories are hard to tell because they are painful, but this one is hard to tell because I still don't know what is real and what isn't. What I'm about to share is the reason I stopped feeling safe around certain family members, and sometimes I still wonder if something was taken from me without my permission. You can call me Ada. I am 24 years old, and earlier this year, I was supposed to be planning my wedding, not sitting here questioning everything that happened to me. Let me start from the beginning. January was supposed to be one of the happiest months of my life. Just 1 week before everything changed. My boyfriend, my fiancé, had come with his family for our introduction. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't over the top, but it was beautiful. My mom was smiling non-stop that day. My dad kept clearing his throat like he didn't want to cry. Even my younger siblings were acting unusually responsible. And me, I felt settled, like my life was finally taking shape. My fiancé, let's call him Daniel. Daniel wasn't perfect, but he was steady, calm, the type of man that made you feel safe without even trying. We had been together for almost 3 years. We had gone through misunderstandings, small fights, even a brief breakup once. But we always found our way back. So when he came with his family that day, I believed it was forever. I truly did. If someone had told me that in less than 1 month that same man would disappear from my life like I never existed, I would have laughed. But life has a way of humbling you. A few days after the introduction, my dad's elder sister returned from the US. Let's call her Aunty Rose. Aunty Rose is, how do I even explain Aunty Rose? She's the kind of woman people respect without even asking questions. She's confident, well-spoken, generous when she wants to be, but also very, very unpredictable. She came back with her 3 daughters. The first one, Vanessa, very quiet, always observing. The second, Lydia, the one that wasn't always around, and the last, Tessa, closer to my age but still older than me by 1 year. They were all beautiful, well put together, but something about them always felt slightly off. Not in a scary way, just like they were hiding something. At first, everything was normal. They visited relatives, attended small gatherings, laughed, took pictures, but I noticed something I couldn't ignore. None of them were in any serious relationship at their age. It wasn't impossible, but it was unusual. I remember thinking about it one night while brushing my hair. Maybe they're just focusing on themselves, I told myself. I didn't know that thought would come back to haunt me. A few days later, Aunty Rose called me. Ada, are you free tomorrow? I said yes. She said she wanted me to follow her and 2 of her daughters to Onitsha. They had ordered some hair and needed to pick it up. It sounded simple, normal. I didn't hesitate. Looking back now, that was the moment everything started. The next morning, we left early. It was me, Aunty Rose, Vanessa, Tessa, and the driver. The journey started like any normal trip. Music was playing, small conversations here and there. And at some point, Tessa was scrolling through her phone, showing me pictures of wigs she wanted to try. I even remember laughing. That memory hurts because I didn't know where I was heading to. Somewhere along the road, a few towns before Onitsha, everything shifted. Aunty Rose suddenly said, let's stop somewhere first. The driver slowed down. Where, ma? I asked Aunty Rose. She mentioned a place. I didn't recognize the name. Then she turned to us. There is someone I want us to see. Something about the way she said it made me feel uneasy, but I ignored it. Who? I asked. A pastor. That word made me sit up. A pastor? She nodded casually. Yes, it's been long I saw him and I want him to pray for you girls. I felt uncomfortable immediately, not because of the prayer, but because of how sudden it was and how planned it sounded. We are not dressed for that, I said. She laughed. It's not a church. We are going to his house for the prayers. Vanessa didn't say anything. Tessa just looked at me briefly, then looked away. That should have told me something. But I didn't understand it then, so I kept quiet. That was my mistake. When we got there, the environment felt strange, not dirty, not abandoned, just quiet in a way that didn't feel peaceful. The compound was simple, not too simple. We parked outside. Auntie Rose went inside first. She didn't even wait for us. We stayed in the car. Minutes passed. No one spoke anything. Then suddenly, the door opened and the man stepped out. That was the first time I saw him, the pastor. Till today, I can still see his face very clearly in my head. That's one thing I've never forgotten. He wasn't old, maybe in his late 40s or early 50s. Calm expression, but his eyes were not calm. They were searching, like he was looking at something deeper than just our faces. He greeted us, then he said something that made my heart skip. Go and buy white handkerchiefs and candles from that shop. He pointed outside. I froze for a second. Why handkerchiefs? Why candles? But Auntie Rose didn't question it. Vanessa didn't question it. Tessa didn't question it. So I didn't question it either. We went, bought them, and came back. And that was when everything began to feel unreal. He spoke to us normally at first, asking about our lives, school, work. Then he asked about relationships. Vanessa said nothing. Tessa said nothing. Then he looked at me. And you? I hesitated. I'm engaged, he smiled, but it didn't feel like a happy smile. Then he said something that changed everything. You will stand in the gap. I frowned. For who? For that one that is not here. I looked at Auntie Rose. She nodded. Don't worry, it's for Lydia, your cousin. I didn't understand, but I didn't want to seem difficult. So I said, okay, no problem. I'll stand for my cousin who wasn't there at the moment. That's one word. I wish I could take it back. We placed the handkerchiefs on our head, lit the candles, and he started praying. But something about that prayer, it didn't feel right. I can't explain it properly, but my chest felt tight. My head felt heavy, and at some point I wanted to remove the handkerchief, but I didn't because everyone else was still with their handkerchiefs, still like statues. When it ended, I felt drained, not tired, drained, like completely drained, as if something had left my body, like something had been taken. But I shook it off. We left shortly after, and just like that, everything went back to normal, or at least it looked normal. We didn't even get the hair she said she wanted to get from the vendor at Onitsha. The vendor suddenly wasn't available, so we went to a shopping mall instead, laughed, ate, took pictures like nothing had happened. That evening we returned home, and that night, that was when the first sign came. I had a dream. I saw a frog, a very big, gigantic frog, staring at me at the dream. Then I saw the white handkerchief, then the candle. I woke up with a sharp breath. My heart was racing. That was when fear entered my body for the first time. And I didn't know it yet, but that dream was only the beginning. I thought the dream was just a dream. I really did. I told myself it was probably because of the strange stop we made earlier that day. Maybe my mind was just trying to process it. That's what I kept repeating to myself that morning as I brushed my teeth. Relax, Ada, you're overthinking. But deep down, I knew I wasn't. There was a feeling sitting in my chest that refused to go away. Heavy, uncomfortable, like something was wrong, but I couldn't explain what exactly. I tried to ignore it until my mom called me into her room. Mothers always do. She had already noticed something was off. Mothers always do. Ada, what's wrong with you? She asked me. I hesitated. For a moment, I almost said nothing, but something pushed me to speak. And once I started, I couldn't stop talking. I told her everything that happened. the trip, the pastor we went to see, the handkerchief, the candle, and the prayer. Even the part where he said I should stand in the gap for my cousin. Then I told her about the dream, the frog, the way he looked at me, the way I woke up feeling like my heart was going to burst. As I spoke, my mom didn't interrupt. She just kept looking at me. And the more I talked, the more her expression changed. Not fear, not shock, something deeper. Concern. When I finished, the room became quiet, too quiet. Then she sighed softly and said, "This is not normal." Those 4 words, they made my stomach turn. "What do you mean?" I asked. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she stood up and tied her wrapper tighter like she was preparing for something. "Let's go and meet your auntie." My heart started beating fast. I don't know why, but at that moment, I already knew something was about to go down. We walked to the sitting room where Auntie Rose was. Vanessa and Tessa were there too. They were laughing about something. It looked normal, too normal. "Mama Ada, good morning." Auntie Rose greeted my mom with a smile. My mom didn't smile back. She sat down slowly. Auntie Rose, I want to ask you something." The atmosphere changed immediately. Vanessa stopped laughing. Tessa looked up. Auntie Rose tilted her head slightly. "Yes, what is it?" My mom glanced at me briefly, then back at her. "Where did you people go to yesterday before going to Onitsha?" For a split second, something flickered across Auntie Rose's face, but it disappeared quickly. "Onitsha now," she said lightly. "We went to pick up a hair." My mom didn't blink. "I'm not talking about Onitsha." Then she added, "I'm talking about the pastor's house you guys stopped at." The moment those words left her mouth, everything changed. Auntie Rose's smile disappeared. Instantly. "What pastor?" she asked angrily. Her tone was different now. Cold. My heart started to race. "The pastor you went to see yesterday with my daughter," my mom repeated. "You asked them to buy handkerchiefs and candles." I expected Auntie Rose to laugh, to say, "Oh, that place we went to at least explain." But instead, she frowned. "I don't understand what you're saying." My chest tightened. "What?" "She told me everything." My mom said calmly. "Why are you denying it?" Auntie Rose turned to me sharply and then looked into my eyes. I had never seen it before. "Ada, what are you saying?" My throat went dry. I told mommy what happened yesterday." Her voice rose slightly. "What happened yesterday?" I blinked. I was confused. The pastor, the prayer." Vanessa suddenly spoke. "Ada, what are you talking about?" I turned to her. Her face was completely serious, not even a hint of joking. My stomach dropped. Tessa shook her head slowly. "We didn't go anywhere like that." Like they denied it blatantly. The room started spinning. "What do you mean?" I asked. My voice was trembling. "We went to Onitsha," Vanessa said. "We couldn't meet the vendor. Then we went to the mall." "That's all," Tessa added. I laughed nervously, a small shaky laugh. "Stop joking." Nobody laughed back. Instead, Auntie Rose leaned forward. Her voice was low. "Are you okay?" That question hit me like a slap. "You slept throughout the journey," she said. My ears started ringing. "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did," Vanessa cut in. "You were even complaining of headache where we were going to Onitsha. That's why you didn't follow us down when we stopped briefly," Tessa added. I stared at them one by one, my heart pounding so loudly I could hear it in my ears. They were lying. They had been lying because I remember everything. My mom spoke again. "This is not a joke." "I'm not joking," Auntie Rose snapped. Her voice was louder now, sharp. "This girl is trying to create problems where there are none." My chest tightened. "Mommy, I am not lying." "Enough," Auntie Rose shouted. I flinched. The room went silent. She stood up, pointing at me. "I don't know what is wrong with you, but don't involve me and my children in your imaginations." Imagination. That word echoed in my head. No, I saw it. I was there, but even as I said it, doubt started creeping in because they all looked so sure, so confident. What if I was the one that was wrong? Auntie Rose turned to the driver who had just entered. "Tell them where we went to yesterday." The driver didn't hesitate. "Onitsha ma," he said. "Did we stop anywhere else?" she asked. "No ma." My heart dropped completely. Even the driver was lying also. I felt like the ground beneath me had disappeared, because now it wasn't just them. Even the driver was saying the same thing. My breathing became shallow. I looked at my mom, hoping she would still believe me, but even her face had changed. Not disbelief, but confusion, uncertainty. That hurt more than anything, because now I was alone in what I remembered. Auntie Rose shook her head in disgust. "This is how family problems start," she said. "Jealousy and unnecessary stories." I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out, because suddenly I wasn't even sure of myself anymore. That was the moment something inside me broke. Not loudly, quietly, dangerously. I started questioning everything, every detail, every memory. Did we really go there? Or did I imagine it? But then, why could I still see his face so clearly? Why could I still remember the feel of the candle in my hand? Why did my chest still feel tight when I thought about it? None of it made sense. That same day, my auntie left with her daughters. They packed their things and traveled to her husband's village. They didn't even say much to me before leaving. Just cold, distant goodbyes. And that was the last time I saw them. Because from there, they went back to the US, just like that. No closure, no explanation, just silence. I tried to move on. I really tried. I told myself, forget it, focus on your life. And for a few days, I almost succeeded until January 31st. That date, I will never forget it. Because that was the day Daniel changed. Completely. He started small. He stopped calling us often. Then he stopped picking my calls. Then his messages became dry, short, cold. I thought he was just busy or maybe stressed. But something didn't feel right. So I went to his house unannounced. When he opened the door and saw me, the look on his face, it wasn't happiness. It was just discomfort. Like I wasn't supposed to be there. That was when fear came back, stronger this time. "Daniel, what's wrong?" I asked. He avoided my eyes, nothing. But his voice didn't match his words. "I've been calling you. I've been busy," he replied. "Too busy to talk to me?" That silence told me everything. My chest tightened. "Did I do something wrong?" I asked him softly. Then he said the words that shattered me. "I think we should take a break." I felt like I didn't hear him properly. A break, yes. Why? He hesitated. Then he said something that didn't make sense. "I just feel like you're not the one for me." What? God. Those words, they didn't sound like him at all. I stared at him, waiting for him to say he was joking. He didn't. Instead, he looked away, avoiding me. That was when tears filled my eyes. "Daniel, we just did our introduction." "I know. So what changed?" He didn't answer. He couldn't answer. Because even he didn't seem sure. And that was what scared me the most. It wasn't just a breakup. It felt like something had been switched. Like overnight, his feelings were replaced. I begged. Yes, I did. I begged him because I was confused. I was broken, but nothing worked. He was gone. Not physically, not emotionally. Completely gone. In fact, spiritually gone. And as I walked out of his house that day, one thought kept repeating in my head. This is not normal. But I didn't know yet that it was only the beginning of something much worse. After I left Daniel's house that day, I felt empty. Not the kind of empty you feel after the normal breakup. This one felt unnatural. Like something had been cut off suddenly, without warning. I went home and cried. Not small tears, hot tears. I cried. That kind that makes your chest hot. The kind that makes breathing feel like work, like hard work. My mom tried to comfort me, but even she didn't know what to say, because everything about the situation didn't just make sense. We didn't fight, we didn't argue, there was no betrayal, just a sudden change. And that was what made it worse. Days passed, then weeks. I tried to reach him again. Sometimes he would reply, most times he wouldn't. And when he did, it felt like I was talking to a stranger. It was distant, cold, detached. At some point, I stopped trying. Not because I was okay, but because I was tired of chasing someone who no longer felt like mine. Then February came, and with it, the second shock of my life. It was a random afternoon. I was scrolling through my phone trying to distract myself. Then I saw it, a picture. Daniel was smiling, standing beside a girl, both of them dressed beautifully, and the caption, engaged. Ha! I froze. My fingers went cold. I clicked on the picture, scrolled, another picture, then another. Friends were congratulating them. It was real, not a joke. My chest tightened so badly I had to sit down, because in that moment everything inside me collapsed. How? I whispered. How is this possible? It hadn't even been 1 month. 1 month. That was when something clicked in my mind. A small quiet thought, but powerful. What if this is connected? I tried to push it away immediately. No, don't think like that. But the thought refused to leave. What if it's connected to that prayer? That pastor we went to see? It was too much coincidence, too much. But I still tried to ignore it until my body started changing. My next period came, but it wasn't normal. It lasted just 2 days. It was light, almost like it wasn't even there. At first, I didn't panic. I thought maybe it was stress. After everything I had been through, it made sense. But then it happened again and again. Each time it got shorter, my period got shorter. That was when fear started creeping back in, because I knew my body. And this wasn't normal for me. So I went to the hospital. They ran tests, checked everything, and when the doctor looked at me and said, "You are fine," I didn't feel relieved. I felt more confused, because if I was fine, why didn't I feel fine? Then came the dreams again. The same dreams, the frog, the handkerchief. I keep having the same dream repeatedly. The same thing until March. But this time, I saw the candle burning brighter. And the handkerchief, it wasn't just on my head anymore. It felt tied, like something was being held in place. By April, that was when I woke up crying, because in that dream, I wasn't alone. There were voices, whispers. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but I knew they weren't for me. That was when I broke completely. I went to my mom again. This time I didn't hold anything back. I told her about Daniel's engagement, about my body, about the dreams, everything. She listened quietly, then she said something that made my blood run cold. What if something was done? I didn't want to hear it, I really didn't, but she continued. In some places, some people can stand for others. My chest tightened. What do you mean? She looked at me carefully. Transfers. That word sat heavy in my room. Transfers of what? I asked, my voice shaking. She didn't answer immediately, but I already knew, or at least I had an idea, and I didn't like it. Then she asked me a question that changed everything. Why did they choose you? Because I didn't have an answer. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense in a way I didn't want it to. I was engaged, happy, settled, moving forward, everything they didn't have, and suddenly everything changed. At the same time, that was when the second twist revealed itself, the one that made me sit down and cry for hours. My mom got a call from a relative in the US, and during that conversation, something slipped. Something small but enough. The second daughter, the one I stood in for, she was now engaged. I felt my heart stop. When my mom asked, around February, the same month Daniel got engaged. The same period everything collapsed for me. I didn't speak. I couldn't speak, because now it wasn't just thoughts anymore. It was a pattern, a very clear one. That was my breaking point. I stopped sleeping properly. Every small thing scared me. I started overthinking everything, even my own shadow. I avoided calls, I avoided people. I felt like something had been taken from me, and I didn't know how to get it back. Weeks later, I did something I never thought I would do. I went looking for that place. alone. That place my auntie had taken me to. I didn't tell anyone. I just woke up one morning and said, I need to know the truth. The journey felt familiar, too familiar, like my body remembered what my mind was struggling to accept. When I finally got close to that area, my heart started beating fast because I knew I was near, and then I saw it, the compound, the same one. My hands started shaking. I stepped out of the vehicle slowly, walked towards the gate. I knocked, there was no answer. I knocked again. Still nothing. Then a neighbor came out. Who are you looking for? She asked. The pastor that lives here, I said. She frowned. No pastor lives here. My chest tightened. He used to live here, she added. Used to. Yes, he left months ago. Before January, my head started spinning because now nothing made sense anymore. If he left months ago, who did we meet that day? Or better yet, where exactly did we go? I stood there frozen, confused, terrified. Because at that moment, I realized something. Either I was losing my mind or something happened that I wasn't supposed to understand. Now, this is where I am today. My life looks normal on the outside. I laugh, I talk, but inside, there are questions that haven't been answered. Daniel is married now. Yes, married. Lydia, my cousin, is also married. The one I stand in place for. Living her life. Happy from what I hear. And me, I'm still trying to understand what happened to me. My body is slowly returning to normal. The dreams have reduced, but they haven't completely stopped. Sometimes I still see that frog. Sometimes I still wake up feeling like something is watching me, and sometimes I sit quietly and ask myself one question: was it all coincidence, or was I used? Without even knowing. I don't have proof, I don't have answers, just memories and feelings that refuse to go away. So I'm asking you, if you're in my shoes, what would you believe? And most importantly, what would you do? Wow, what a story. This is obviously ritual, like I don't know what to call it, but I'll say a ritual was performed on her head. So what do you think about the story? Thank you so much for watching. Remember to write your thoughts in the comment section and like this video. Share with your loved ones. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And remember to turn on the notification bell so that whenever I post, you get informed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on my next video. Bye.